a culture of innovation and collaboration. Achieving a global perspective beyond the classroom, turning education and theory into practice. Developing lifelong interests and connections, and striving to make a difference in our communities. Marist College. It begins with our...
Welcome back, everybody. I hope your energy is still up. We are in the final matchup of today. My name is Viking. I am here with my co-caster Artie, and we are about to see whether University of Colorado maintains their dominance as the top team in the league, or if Marist can put up a bit of a fight. So we're pretty excited to see this after we've had quite the slate of matches this evening. Artie, how you feeling, my man?
Feeling great. I'm feeling so excited that we actually have a match that could go, not 2-0, right? Like we all day, it's just been stomp, 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 and I'm really excited that we have these two forces coming head to head tonight. Marist is currently holding 5th place on the scoreboard here. Colorado maintaining that dominance up in 1st place, so they're not too worried about that. But Marist wants to climb, and climb they might. They can put up against the absolute dominance that is University of Colorado today.
It is super important, as you point out, as Marist is attempting this climb, that they keep up with Siena, who in a very close match with Villanova earlier maintained their 2-0. Like you said, it was close. It was an overtime match on their first map of the day. But without that, they're just kind of stuck in that exact middle of the pack. But Colorado, on the other hand, is a terrifying team. They have only lost 1 map this entire season so far. And we are in week 9. So I'm just excited to see what comes out of this because of the insanity that has ensued in different matches, especially with when they tie, they feel the need to just go hog wild. So surprisingly conservative start. I feel like this is the first time that our pistol round in the opening map of any game that we've covered today has gone longer than 45 seconds. But here we are as we see Colorado creeping up, looking for an opening as they're starting to favor that A site.
Exactly, and that should tell you exactly how much tension we've got between these two teams. Neither one wants to lose this opening fight here. This is one of those matches where pistol round is really going to mean everything. We see that University of Colorado does start off with the dominating factor here. They will pick up 2. JM does get a refrag here. Unfortunately, JM did pop a flash that kind of hit his team in the eyes a little bit. But it looks like Marist will be able... I'm going to eat my words there. Marist almost recovers from that, but I don't think Penguin is going to recover from those shots anytime soon. JM, last person standing in this 1v3 here. Adatoshi at 7 HP, but it's going to be Fancy Lad coming through, picking up that last shot. And University of Colorado, not only did they get the kills, but they got the plant money too. And, well, that was a really strong pistol.
Yeah, I think it was exciting. Like you made it some mention or some alluded to it a little bit as we were going through that. There was some back and forth. There was some good play overall. And Colorado known for being particularly tight in their executions. And you saw that immediately as you saw the smokes come out and all those different elements. And Marist here looking to try to get something out with his immediate stack. Gets 2. Traded 2 for 2 is a pretty good situation for the amount of money that they invested into that strategy.
Actually, yeah, if Marist can even pick up just one of those weapons on the ground, they're going to be in a very fancy situation here. University of Colorado, if they end up losing this what should be the bonus round for them, it could put them in a sticky situation as far as economy is concerned going into the next one. University of Colorado, they do maintain A site control right now, but the bomb is going to go towards B. But looks like Jig Jester, he does grab the plant right out here. And now we're going to be seeing it all flood through. Unfortunately, though, Marist just gets completely shot out by Jig Jester with the MP7. That was a spray down of spray downs here. University of Colorado, they're not worried in the slightest here.
Yeah, a lot of economic benefit, obviously, to getting those MP7 kills, and Jake Jester able to make the most of it, even after by maintaining a 3K bank. So I loved these strategies that are just not the same thing over and over again. Marist obviously seeing a little bit of benefit out of that. Now coming into a situation where they were able to buy on round 3, which you see a little bit of debate as to like whether that's where you want to focus. RC deciding that guns don't matter because he's just going to take off Penguin's head, and Berreghini trying so hard to make sure that they make the most out of their positioning, but now has the opportunity to be cleaned up by the rest of the Colorado players. What a life-saving flash.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a move out here that Colorado pulled out, but Marist is holding strong. JM managing to get that one op shot actually stunts Colorado in their tracks here. They were getting ready to do that full aggress and commit. They actually backed off after that, and now we see them over on B site where they're only going to be finding a single member of Marist College for now, but as the rest of the team now starts to flood out the gates, Fancy Lad, watch out the sideline, picks up one more. There is going to be another CT in the corner. He doesn't see him, and Sprague comes out top of that one. It drops down to the 2v2 situation. Jig Jester going to be backing off towards Canal. Will he find the sight lines that he needs here? Unfortunately, Berreghini will be finding the sight lines here on top of Obi Cozy. It's now just a 1v1 here. Jig coming out on top, though, with that first kill on Sprague. So now we see the diffuse try to come through. Berreghini, though, he has a kit, and he's going to be able to stick the diffuse with the kit. Jig, not expecting that play. Wow.
This is the match we deserve. I'm excited. Those are some ballsy moves by Marist, and we saw that, obviously not afraid to do some of those things from their reaction in round 2. As the saying goes, pros don't fake, and Marist able to come out with their first round of the match early in this. And again, Colorado, not a team known for making mistakes. So any opening you get from them, you got to make the most of it, and that absolutely happens there. Great efforts from Marist all around, and now Colorado looking for their way to bring that back and start to dominate the way that they want to.
Yeah, we're seeing Marist come off of that win, and even though all 5 members died, they ended up full buying out here. Everyone except for Lucky, who is still out here with just a single USPS and some armor for his time. Dropping into this 3-on-4 situation, DB Cozy is going to be pretty low. Penguin, though, with the scout, picks up one on the RC. Aratoshi coming through, trying to find the shots. Unfortunately, it will just be a tapping battle with no victor at the moment in time. Penguin trying to get this repeat, picks it up. Incredible stuff. Almost gets the third there through the wall, trying to do what they can to make sure that the pressure is always on. But this 3-on-2 situation is looking like Marist is in a good spot at the very least here. Penguin picking up one more. Will he be able to get the 4K for Penguin?
Wow.
That was beautiful.
Wow. I think we saw that from the beginning, that there was, of course, potential. You saw a lot of trades out of that con into the water kills. Obviously, Sprague getting the refrag being a really important aspect of that. But Penguin, absolutely the MVP of round 4 with the scout getting the 4K. Not something that you expect to be able to survive for that long, but absolute props to them. And Colorado now forced to save and just buying some deagles and in a Tech 9 going for aggression through Con, see if they can overwhelm the 2 players at Bathroom.
Well, they certainly overwhelmed my senses, seeing a train of yellow coming through that wall there. Lucky did try to get that sprayed onto the wall here. Did not end up getting Lucky. But Penguin, a 4K of their own. Unfortunately, cleaned up by Jig Jester. They're not going to be an ace, but still, that entire push shut down. It was only epistles for Colorado, but gosh, you love to see stuff like that. JM will be coming through now with the upgraded AWP, and Jig Jester will fall.
Decisive and clean, keeping the economy into the best position that they can, because despite the fact that they won those last 2 rounds, Marist is not necessarily been in the best financial position because they've been close and expensive. But that last round, super important to get some guns in the bank, puts them in a relatively stable position, I guess you could say, with the exception of Penguin. But Aratoshi opening up for Sprig, Vermigini going for the refrag and getting the second. This is all Marist right now.
This is honestly just so much fun to watch, given everything else that we've seen today. I'm loving this right now. The energy coming out from Marist as they pick up that round. We really see it in the way that they're playing. University of Colorado, though, they are able to get the bomb down, and this is where things get a little bit different. Now, look at this textbook site layout right now. All the utilities being used as it should. Vermigini holding 4 grenades in the back pocket. We're going to be seeing them come out right now as the smoke drops. We see the boost coming through, and that boost will reveal where Fancy Lad is, and we are going to see some HEs coming over in that direction. JM going to drop the low HP as RC goes for the shots.
Oh no, JM!
Will end up working out for Colorado here. JM having to back off just 7 HP, and at that distance, luckily going to be able to back off far away and keep the op. But wow, great stuff from both teams here.
I didn't see how that happened. JM took out his teammate there, and I was expecting a different outcome, I think. As you'd hope not to be taking out your teammates with your op shots, but it happens sometimes, you know, accidents and mistakes and whatnot.
You know, you gotta live and learn, and unfortunately, you know, living didn't happen for most of Marist, but JM lived.
Oh, this is interesting. Look at all this aggression in the short.
Wow, a single one-on-one trade here will make things interesting, but it looks like the pressure is still going to be on B side with one lone lurker out from Colorado here. The bomb is getting planted, but what is this lurk play coming out of connector? That's going to hurt as the 2 members of Marist playing from sandbags are going to get run up on right now. Sprague, no, is waiting for it at the very least, and JM does pick up 1 kill, but it is going to go the way of Colorado right now. No!
What?
No, it doesn't!
What is happening?
With the Tech 9, we see JM clutch it up. I'm going to need that in slow motion.
Yeah, I feel like everything's happening so fast. I wasn't... I don't know. The prediction that I had in my mind is just starting to slip away a little bit. Maybe I'm taking for granted what the stat lines have been. But this has been an excellent opening salvo from Marist so far against a foe that is, we'll say, more than formidable.
I'm just really glad I wasn't alone there, because as I was watching that go down, I was like, wow, Colorado's got this. But then Marist just came through, and JM clutched it up with that Tech 9. Fancy Lad, though, super deep right now to be able to pick up the first one. Sees the second, doesn't get the second, but RC does instead. A team flash is going to work out right now. The entirety of Marist was completely blinded. You watch as Penguin comes through, and unfortunately, just the pistol is going to be whipping a little bit.
Don't give up is the lesson there.
Exactly. It ends up working in the end.
Oh,
and
no.
look at that.
Cancel. That's a shame.
Yeah,
a little bit of miscommunication on the utility, but whatever. Oh, and there's a huge gap in that smoke. But it doesn't matter because wherever he... Oh, they're not going to expect him from Monster.
Pro's so fake. Pro's so fake.
Oh, it doesn't matter what is happening. Why?
What is happening
that's twice in the same game. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
Chat, if you guys just hear Tyler and I kind of stumbling over each other, it's because neither of us were trained for this.
No, I think I have not covered all of Colorado's games last season, but I think this is one of the first times I've ever seen them take a timeout. This is completely uncharted territory to me, and it is worth noting, looking back at the University of Colorado schedule over the last split, this is the first time that they're playing Marist, and we expected, because Marist is middle of the pack in 5th place right now, that they were a pretty serviceable team. Like they've played against other teams that have been very strong in the standings, and they've done pretty well. But on the other hand, University of Colorado, like I said, has only ever dropped 1 map, and that was to DePaul University. So with that happening, like Colorado ended up dominating Marquette, who we just saw took that convincing 2-0 over Niagara. So, you know, not that we ever count anybody else, but I expected that Marist was going to be a little bit more at a disadvantage. But That being said, they went 1-1 against Marquette, and against DePaul they didn't fare as well. So it seems like they've really done some training in the off season to get here and make this stretch of the split really entertaining.
And entertainment is the name of the game here. Like, we're seeing Marist really pull out of the stops, and Adatoshi gets a perfect double flash on long, but peeks the corner without his gun out and doesn't manage to capitalize on it. And we are going to see Adatoshi and Jig actually manage to get those kills in the end there, but that could have gone so differently. There's so much that's happening right now that's just not written in the book of CSGO, and I'm here for it, right? Seeing all of these incredible plays, but then one-offs that both teams aren't ready for, so it just, things that shouldn't work end up working, and things that should work just don't. We're watching Marist right now on a 3v5, a 3v4, but because Adatoshi is at stub his Tony's gone health, we really don't know how this is going to turn out. Rarigini picks up the lone lurker on B site, but still doesn't know really where the next execute is going to come from. It is A site, as we see two in bathrooms, one around long. It's going to start out now as we see the utility flood the site. RC will take a hit, but it's not going to matter. Lucky gets the refrag onto Adatoshi there. Toast up health. And
oh no! Are you kidding me?
Not again. Both teams in smokes, man.
Whew, that was a great way to play around that. The smoke obviously always, favoring those that are not peaking in that particular situation. A lot closer than I expected that round to be, because one thing that is crazy to me is the Marist side has been going all in pretty much every round in terms of their investment, and that's why we saw something like the Mag 7 just a moment ago, the P90 and such, which there's obviously a little bit of style preference there as well, but they're also just guns that you pick when you can't afford an M4, which it's valid. But in that round, still able to just make it insane. And if Rarigini had kept up that spray just a little bit longer to get RC Jig Jester at the front of Dice there, and Penguin just coming out of nowhere with the P250, deciding that party's not the place for the enemy, and that he needs to hold that down. So this is continuing to show that you can't assume anything just because of a difference in hardware.
And honestly, Marist is making it work, right? Like they're on all pistols, but University of Colorado is playing this safer than most of the other rounds that they've been playing, just because they know that Marist can pull a win out of nowhere. University of Colorado is actually really spread out right now. Adatoshi does somehow make it work with the Galil here, and the bomb is going to get planted on B site as Marist just drops down to 3 players that are coalesced onto A. They only have one option here, and that is going to be going through CT to find a kill, but no, they're backing off and going to play in long to save their pistols. They didn't even buy armor to save. Hello?
I mean, sure, that makes sense. Why not, right?
Sure. P250 is expensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the single best investment that anyone can make in this game. It's my personal favorite pistol. Probably it's because it's the only one that I've become proficient in for all the time that I've played this game. But I mean, I probably would have gone there because, like you said, they didn't buy armor. There wasn't like really much to carry over into this round. But I guess why not back up your M4 with the Deagle for fun?
You know what? Marist made that call, and Marist is 5-5 with University of Colorado right now. So I'm gonna believe it. I'm gonna say that Marist knows what they're doing. We're gonna be seeing, unfortunately, Colorado knowing what they're doing a little bit better for that push here, and they are gonna come out on top as it drops into a 4v3. But Adatoshi once again a little bit low HP here, never getting a free frag. Marist is also going to be, again, just seated more towards A. We get this A leaning a lot more from Marist than anything over on B. 2 members of Colorado sitting in Sandbag right now, getting ready to flood out. And as Cozy swings wide, we'll be able to pick up the one on to Lucky. A 2v3 situation. Both members of Marist now finally rotating down to B site, going for the retake here. We see the util come through. Cozy sees those grenades getting thrown, so he knows exactly where to look. And it's a 2K. The University of Colorado finally back in the lead after so long.
It feels like you could say it was inevitable, but I feel like everything that we've thought so far in this game has it's been dangerous to say those types of things around. So we see Marist coming in here, significantly less investment even than the last time that we saw it in terms of their eco. But those P250s, a lot of armor penetration on the helmet could make things interesting. And if they can pick up an AK or two and save that, this is a pretty successful round. I mean, that's obviously the hope for any eco that you can get through. But I think the other part about it is if they can get into the heads of Colorado continuously and make them consider them, you know, kind of like the boogeyman that they have to avoid and be a little bit more conservative about, they can do a lot. But oh boy. There are a lot of Marist players here about to make this man's life difficult.
Yeah, and just like you said, the boogeyman, but the boogeyman was rushed by 3 pistols in connector. We're checking this out with the once again the 4v3. Some weird only pistols, really weird saving here, but Sprag actually manages to pick up that AK. The jump peek will come through, the flash as well. Colorado is not letting 3 players survive a round again here. Adatoshi picks up a double, only seeing one of them, throws the frag, it kills both. Sprag will be able to run away with the AK here, but I couldn't tell. Did the kill happen?
I don't.
Yes. No?
I don't know. I'm gonna say.
No, he still got the AK. Yeah, he still
but
got the AK.
I couldn't tell. No, they didn't rebuy on that. So they came very close to trading, but no dice there yet. So Marist 5-7 against Colorado, doing really well, feeling themselves, and they're coming back to a position of strength in terms of their utility. Colorado taking water control to start off, aiming towards the B. RC sprays through, gets Sprague, and just makes life a little bit more difficult for Marist to hold on to. But with 2 more members on the B site and Resmoke coming in, they're at a pretty good spot to take on this. But the op shot doesn't connect.
Not only did the op shot not connect, I don't think the left click connect. I don't think the op shot was fired. Checking this 4v4. Honestly, Marist is finally slated towards B for the first time that they need to be. And as they do that, University of Colorado re-rotates. And while they do end up making it to site here, JM does pick up a very neat op shot. And the rest of Marist does fall through, coming up through bank, coming up through trash. And I think that they are ready to cancel out this take. But as the bomb fakes itself onto site here, Fancy Lad will come through completely blinded to take out JM. That's the op deleted from Marist. It's a 2-on-2 now as Adatoshi takes out Lucky. Braragini is going to be holding the sightlines, but it will unfortunately not work out for him. Penguin and Fancy Lad here in 1v1. But Penguin can't hold it as Fancy comes through the side. Great stuff here. Colorado finally seems like they've woken up.
That was intense. Really lovely. And Penguin's flank there was initially dangerous, and you could argue that could have been what cost them the round, because as he pushed out there, they had nobody left to answer to the pressure onto A. Obviously, Marist caught that out pretty quickly and made the quick rotation, but not before JM was taking damage from a molly and before they obviously lost control of site. So now as Fancy Lad takes out Rarigini and Cozy starts to take out everybody else, everything's coming up Colorado in this exchange, and that's just part of the sort of the cascading effect of what happens when you give up a round like the one that they just did.
There is some very mixed energy I'm getting out of Marist, because it seems like consistency is the name of the game for Colorado, and it is the name of the absolute enemy of Marist, because I don't think that I can consistently name a strategy that they've pulled out round per round, other than this lurking post plant, this time with weapons though. So, a little bit less consistent on that front, but a little bit better for them now.
Yeah. And they're going to be in kind of a tough spot going into the next round. I mean, you see Sprague right there, $0, like E450, or Uni 800. That's not a great buy situation. Their loss bonus is almost at full at this point, which gives them a little bit of extra, but starting from nothing is tough. So whether or not they're going to try to buy up around the AWP and the M4 that they have is obviously what they're probably talking about in this timeout scenario. Looks like they're going to opt to go for the higher yield buys, which I agree with. I mean, why not? They've had obviously lots of success in a lot of close rounds, so it's not unreasonable. But looking over at the Colorado side, you see some double-digit numbers or some, well, 5-digit numbers in that cash, which means Marist is continuously fighting on a back foot, and anything that pushes them over the edge could ultimately be their unraveling. As we haven't really seen, we haven't seen the success of them since those early rounds, despite the fact that Marist is keeping these pretty close.
I mean, honestly, if we look at the timeline of the scores, the last couple rounds where University of Colorado has just taken it again and again, it's not really what I was expecting, given how it started out with Marist really, pulling up in front. But I think that Colorado just, once they fell into the rhythm and they started to be able to read what Marist is doing a little bit more, again, because it's so hard to without that level of consistency. I think that Colorado is finally able to just take these few key plays that work and pull them out again and again. We see Adatoshi actually watching this smoke. I do not believe that Marist has smoked that before coming into this, so he knows that there's some play that's happening there, and that's going to block off canals as a possible route for Colorado. We do once again have a single lurker coming up from A side here. Will go down, and actually another member will go down in connector, which brings us into a 5v3 situation. So Marist now on a 2-man advantage. It looks like that timeout was for a lot more than just a pee break. We will be seeing University of Colorado actually kind of backpedaling here, trying to figure out what the move is. Do they try to aggress back up through connector? Do they go across their fallen teammate's body in sandbags and aggress the site? What is the play here for Colorado?
They're in a tough spot, right? It's 3v5. There's not a ton of time left, and they're all playing from the same position. So it almost feels like for a second they were just taking a moment, like an in-round timeout, if you will, to just say, all right, let's see if we can figure something out. But Marist is playing this really well by not giving any unnecessary looks to Colorado. And now they're trying to kind of split the attention, which, typically works out to your advantage. You don't want to run onto a site with 5 of the Marist players attacking you. Fancy Lad able to take out Rarigini as they enter onto the A site, and they're going to try to get this bomb down. So they've got the cash from there, which is obviously an important part of the win condition. Put a little bit of pressure on Marist, but now we've got all 4 players from Marist rotating through CT. So they're not going to have that pincer movement, which is not great, but they are going to have a bunch of bites at the apple, so to speak. Penguin finding the opening kill onto Fancy Lad. Not quite sure where those last 2 players are, although they seem to have an idea. G Jester from behind Dice takes out 1, answered immediately by Sprague, and the last person, Aratoshi, on site is going to go down. So ultimately, numbers from Marist prevail and give them their 6th round, and making this a 6-9 half in favor of the University of Colorado.
Nice. Very, very good stuff. Marist, yeah, let's look at that scoreboard for a bit, the timeline. Marist pulling out 3 in a row really made us believe that there was a good chance that Marist could take that first half. But once Colorado found their footing, they were able to get the 1-point advantage coming in. They really just started to keep that rolling. Marist ending up on the last round, actually pulling out a good solid win after a timeout. I'm happy to see that from them. I'm happy to see that it's not just lost as soon as Colorado gets their footing, right? Like that's what we all kind of expected, is Colorado is sitting at that top spot in the scoreboard, but here we are. Marist calling another timeout, and again, I think this is going to be a little bit more than a pee break. I think that they're calling out for their strategies. How did Colorado play on that first half? Well, they were a little bit aggressive, and they rotated sites as freely as they wanted to. They played for picks before they entered. And Marist now has to say, okay, that's what we know from Colorado on the T half. What are they going to do on CT?
Exactly. And as you can see, you've got two players that haven't bought yet. So they're going to go for the utility, which means that they're going to, try for a proper execute, hopefully. And if they can win this round, then they're going to be in a great position to make this a fight, and certainly something deserving of the last spot on broadcast this evening. I do think that one thing that I really want to see from Marist is Lucky and Sprague both have been kind of quiet on the side of Marist. And obviously with CT, you get a little bit of imbalance in terms of where people are going and so on. But on the T side, like, you're going to have to rely on them to not only get your entries, but your post-plant situations. And if they can do that, then I think they're golden for the rest of this. But if Colorado shuts them down here in the next few rounds, it's going to be a very different mood going into map 2.
Yeah, Marist has the potential to, stave off that, match point situation for a while. But if University of Colorado picks up this pistol round, they pick up the bonus after. I think that, hello?
How did Regini get there?
A, how did he get there? B, why didn't he shoot Cozy? C, how did we get here? Lucky picking up a kill, picking up a double. I have so many questions. This is actually insane. Lucky is now in a situation to pick up the pistol round for Marist, and University of Colorado is just out of Jig here, who is honestly a great player, especially when it comes down to using the pistol, using anything. But we see Lucky actually coming through, taking so much time to plant the bomb, faking it, not knowing what to do, sticking
Maybe a misclick?
Perhaps, but now Lucky has figured out where Jig is. Jig knows exactly where Lucky planted. Pop flash going to come through from both.
Oh, did you hear him drop? I don't know if he did.
I don't think he did, but it's not going to matter too much as both of them.
The P2000 just...
Okay.
Dirty.
We made it here at the end, but what a round.
I think my heart is struggling a little bit after the roller coaster of what we just saw there. There was a lot of that initial aggression off of Party, which, we saw some good picks going back and forth, but it seemed to come up in Colorado's favor. And then Regini just popping in from behind saying hello and not able to get that backstab kill. I think was the pinnacle of what was going on in terms of the sheer attitude of chaos that we saw time and time again.
It's great stuff to see when, a team can actually come together and we just see their communications through their gameplay, through their crosshair placement and their footsteps, especially when we see a train coming through the canal and then running all the way back to spawn. Marist has decided that re-rotating is going to be the name of the game. Unfortunately, they did so fully loud, and the entirety of University of Colorado, I would reckon the entire state of Colorado, is ready for this refrag. But what is this? Look at RC coming up from behind. Marist College has no clue that there is a sixth member of their conga line. He drops down and it does get revealed here, but he takes a single spray to take out Sprague, and it will be into a 5-on-4. Now a 4-on-2 situation here. Regini does pick up Fancy Lad, and JM taking out Aratoshi. That's two weapons in the hands here, but will they be able to use them here? Unfortunately, no, they will not. JM does pick up an SMG, but Cozy right on the site here. Jig also sprinting around the corner. It's Cozy who picks up that shot, and great stuff again. University of Colorado, they want to close this out as soon as possible.
I don't blame them. This has been just an exhausting change of energy on a constant basis, and it's also something where when you can't sleep because you just have that little bit of anxiety underneath it. It's kind of like no one's been able to take a breath here because there's always a threat of like, sure, this team is on pistols, but that means that they could be as dangerous as ever. Unfortunately, Lucky going down early as a result of that top level smoke peak. and Aratoshi able to take out Rarigini. So Marist is learning the hard way that Colorado is well prepared for this map and that they're ready to, pull out all of the preventative defensive formations that you can to make sure that they're seeing as much damage dealt before the other team even sees them.
And honestly, I think that Colorado has figured out the exact rhythm and cadence that they need to make sure that that keeps happening every time consistently. Because Marist has been struggling the last few rounds. They started off strong, but once Colorado figured out how to read them, it was kind of it. And I think that's what we're seeing now. Colorado is not playing playfully anymore, right? They're not going for those, super fancy moves. They are just locking it down exactly how the textbook was written by Gaben himself. And we're seeing Penguin and JM do what they can to just hold up and not get taken out here. But as we see with a single bullet coming out from RC, it's just not going to work out. Colorado has figured what the move is. Marist just loves to just sit and play around and play for their lives. But unfortunately, it's just not going to work out with the bloodthirsty Coloradoans.
You're right, exactly right. And unfortunately for Marist, they're starting to run out of time here. I mean, they had such an impressive first half, and with everything going as closely as it did, this certainly could have been a very different scoreline. But unfortunately, we don't live in the past, we live in the here and now, and that scoreline is giving 12 rounds to Marist 6. Now, a 2-for-2 trade there does put them in a good position to take this site. I don't know if they're aware of Cozy sitting on Monster, but hopefully they'll check, and they miss one, and the second. They're aware of that flash. That flash was so critical there, and they've already smoked off Heaven. So if they can get the bomb down, they at least know what's going to happen. Oh, and not planning default, so smart. This is an excellent play from Marist. This is an excellent execution of a strategy that could have gone so wrong. Unfortunately, neither of them have armor, so that's going to be kind of difficult. But maybe it won't matter. It doesn't, because RC just cleans up both of them. But for Marist, a really effective round overall.
Getting that extra bomb plant money is everything for Marist when you're in this situation. So they're going to get full-blooded loss bonus. They're going to get the plant bonus, and they're going to be able to buy everything they need going into this one. That's going to be AKs. That's going to be utility. Zeus's maybe, if this were the last series. But,
yeah, keep the Zeus Wars going.
Zeus Wars. Zeus War 2. Electric Boogaloo. But here we go with Marist, starting off with some good utility, actually. That counter aggression up against Colorado. Colorado, though, is both holding out a decent bit of aggression here. Not peeking too heavily into the sight lines of Marist, but holding out to make sure that Marist can't come across a few key checkpoints. Now, Marist is leaning a lot more heavily into A this time around, which we haven't really seen them execute too much, because each time they usually just kind of lose that fight and then re-rotate out. But if they can hold off here, especially given the fact there's two members of Colorado dedicated to B site. Unfortunately, though, with JM down, it's going to be a little bit harder for them now. They've got to win this fight in bathrooms here. But RC, he gets those refrags. He's going to be able to get at least one there, which he does. And it's just not going to be free enough for Marist. One-man advantage with Colorado is everything. And as soon as Marist loses that man advantage, they pretty much are out of the round because of how cohesive Colorado plays. You got 2 on A site, 2 on B site, ready to rotate back to A whenever they need to. And they will need to here soon. Marist gets ready. The utility lineups are going to come out. Lucky pulling the pin on that grenade and just waiting for the call. Smoke comes through from the members of the team here, but a single off bullet comes out from Advanced Led. Take out Rarigini. It's just up to Lucky and Sprague. Lucky will pick up one here, but that costs 2 pieces of utility and a single member of the team to peek out for their life. It's just not going to work out. Adatoshi picks up the 2K, and University of Colorado brings us 14-6.
This is getting very, very dire for the side of Marist. It's been a lot of fun to watch them going back and forth, but unfortunately, Colorado is just coming out on the winning side of every engagement at this point. So Marist has really got to settle here and make sure that they're taking, I guess, their time with some of these executions, but not so much that it's giving Colorado an opportunity to continue settling in. As they obviously have so far. I think they're, you know, for the most part, Marist did what they needed to. They forgot to check a couple corners. Their utility was a little off, but overall they came in with a relatively good execution. Colorado has just been better, and unfortunately for Marist, that's just the way that it is. Although playing this double water situation has worked out really well for Colorado. Rarigini taking off the board and making this a 4v4.
You know, I think that the reason T side hasn't been so strong for Marist is because the fact that they end up playing for time a lot more, and it's time that they don't have. So eventually, you know, when they do finally end up in the situations where they can actually execute and take their disadvantage and use it in a way that would work, by that point they just don't have enough time to successfully execute and get on the site and plant. And it's just really unfortunate that they're constantly in this situation, right? Like 45 seconds and they're not through bathrooms yet. RC gets a double spray down as soon as they enter, and you know, it's just wasted time at this point because they could have just run in before Colorado could set up there, but now Colorado is just taking this out. It is currently the ultimate round now on the match point right now. Marist has not picked up a single round in this half yet, and I don't know if they will.
It's a tall order. It really is, and obviously facing match point, there's so much pressure on Marist to not make any errors. And so, while we've continued to talk about how close some of these rounds are, the fact that Marist has been able to capitalize on any of them this half, or really since their last round in the T front, it doesn't bode well, especially not with 2 opening kills from Colorado, although JM doing his damnedest to make sure that he keeps his team in this. However, it now is just up to him and against 3 players on the Colorado side. That being said, you know, one of them pretty low. You don't know.
Wow, JM actually has the potential to get an ace here and keep Marist in, but here comes that rotate back all the way back to T-spawn, going up through the back of the connector. I think Fancy Lad just holding this angle is really just indicative of the situation, right? Like Colorado just wants to get onto the next map. They just want to go to Inferno, light the fire here. But Marist is they're taking their time. JM knows that every round counts when it comes to the EGF circuit, and I think that JM wants to bring one more round to the table. If JM can just pick up the single bullet that it will take out RC. Oh, but breaking your legs on that fall. He knows it's the end here. Oh, but it's not. He takes out Fancy Lad.
You hold your tongue, sir. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do anything.
Oh, and RC's the only... Oh, well, I mean, the Molly's not going to matter, but JM obviously a little disappointed in that. He doesn't know necessarily where RC's coming from, but with only 13 HP, this could go either way. Wow.
The ace, the plant.
Wow. Wow. I'm just gonna keep saying it because Jam Master absolutely there, pulling himself up by his own bootstraps, putting on his backpack, placing his team carefully in that big pocket, and just carrying it into their 7th round and keeping them from match point. Is not something that you can say very often for the teams that are playing against Colorado.
He just murders. That's what JM stands for. He just murders.
Just murder. There you go. I love it.
Wow. University of Colorado has to be feeling bad after that, but I don't know how you could recover from this. We see Rarigini going down here as RC just peaks very, very effectively. Fancy Lad playing a lot safer this time around. Knows that there's one around the corner of the op here. But Penguin, a scout versus an op, but it is the business goose that comes out on top. Let's find out this next 4v4 here. Lucky, low HP, but doesn't really care. Lucky's going to be able to play with the team, and now Marist definitely going to be on some good vibes after this. University of Colorado, they have to play this as safe as they can. 2 members of Connector, making sure that none of the T's are going to be able to knock down there, and we've got Cozy and Adatashi just waiting in their respective sites to make sure that nothing else can come through. RC does pick up 1, so the T's cannot progress out further. It's Lucky and Sprag. They need to pull off a JM. Oh, now it's up to Lucky here. Can you do it? Can you pull off a JM and recover the bomb and get a 4K and do that all with 20 HP? I think this could be the end for Marist here, but still a great show from them. And honestly, just JM just murdering was a fantastic way to close this off here. A great ending piece for Marist. But University of Colorado really just making sure that they put the period at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about how entertaining that last series was with Niagara and Marquette. But this is just a whole different level. Very entertaining for very different reasons. And huge props to Marist for putting up the fight that they have again against a team that has just been absolutely insane across not just today, but the entire season. So we are going to give it a quick break. We're going to come back for map 2. We're going to Inferno next to see if Marist can take some of that energy and convert it into a big old W. So don't move. We'll be right back.
Если так понравилось чем-то большим стать, ведь наша жизнь это фристайл, на трубке занята. Возможно, вы уже никто, но желтый след твой. Последний шанс на дамку в пол, это карусель. Для таких, как мы, детей, если все вокруг не те, поищи себе.
Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Find light in the beautiful sea. I choose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. You're shooting so I see, fish in the best to see. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. I knew that we'd become one right away. Oh, right away. At first sight, I felt the energy of sunlight. I saw the life inside your eyes. Tonight, you and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Eye to eye, so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. Beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. Beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Palms rise to the universe. Everyone shining light. Feel the warmth, we'll never die. We're like diamonds in the sky. You're shooting star, I see a vision of us to see. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. At first sight, I felt the energy of sunlight. I saw the life inside your eyes. Tonight, you and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Eye to eye, so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. Beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Oh.
favorite color. I'm all that I wear. Blue are the streets and all the trees are too. I have a girlfriend and she is so blue. Blue are the people here that walk around. Blue like my garden, it's in and outside. Blue are the words I say and what I think. Blue are the feelings that live inside me. I'm blue, I'm a need, I'm a die. 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 I'm a need, I'm a die.
When you're tired, when you're lonely, can just reach out and on. Oh, river, I'll help you run through the storm. All I need is your love tonight. All I need is your love tonight. All I
Best believe that when you need that, I'll provide that. You will always have it. I'll be on check. When you need that, I'ma let you have it. Fill up like I'm day. Like a dirty rhythm you play. I wanna hear you calling my name like, hey mama, hey mama. In the club like I'm day. I know you want it in the worst way. I wanna hear you calling my name like, hey mama, hey mama. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. Don't gotta vote low, bitch. I'm rocking vote low. Hold on, who that hold low? Yeah, bitch, I go low. Pop a photo. Now I need me vote low. Smoking on that dope low, making money so.
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting straight into map 2 of University of Colorado versus Marist, University of Colorado on the CT side. Already down one fancy lad and almost down one cozy boy. So with this, Marist is trying to set that tone, and Penguin, who is a hero of that first map with that crazy scout round, is coming through. But the Jig Chester trying so hard to get that kill from behind, but not working out, getting punished for it. This is exactly what we expected coming into this game already. RC trying desperately to salvage something from his team, but Rarigini takes down his only remaining teammate, and so it is literally just one member of the Colorado team trapped in the church praying for his life.
But it is RC. He's got the ready composure to be able to take the shot into Penguin. Takes out Penguin, takes out Rarigini. It's now going to be a 1v2. JM and Sprague have no idea, but they do. JM, he just murders. Takes out RC immediately. Casters, they just curse things. Marist starting off strong with that. Let's talk about that. We had Overpass that was dominated by Colorado, going 16-7 there, 16-6, 16-7, one of those numbers.
Yes,
and
7.
Colorado just absolutely showed off there. But you know what, Marist, they took the lead by 1 point at the very beginning of Overpass, and so now we come through right now with this. It could go the same way, where Marist just like picks up a couple rounds here, and then Colorado comes through. Lucky is going to be turning, not checking the right corner. But he does jig. The trigger discipline, it worked against you. Now we see University of Colorado here dropping one member right off the bat again. But are they worried? We will not find out until another few rounds, but we will see a commit to A site here with 2 members of Marist pushing out on B. The bomb is actually going to be on A, where the very first pickup has been made. Unfortunately, though, nobody is really ready yet. We see Fancy Lad picking up some shots here on the Sprague. That will even out the head count. 4 on 4. The bomb re-rotates back out to B site once they realized it was mostly an A hold. And RC does not clean up the kill there. That is going to hurt the CTs here a bit. But as Cozy takes out Lucky, it is refragged by Penguin onto Adatoshi, which brings 3 on 3. No kill is had for free here, but the bomb is planted, and Penguin had to trade 83 HP for it. We will see University of Colorado getting ready to rotate out here. They've got 2 SMGs. They've got a Deagle. Marist here with a USPS and 2 SMGs. It's almost even, but University of Colorado is ready on this retake here. They pop 1 flash, only 1 left in their pockets for this next one. A fake flash coming through. It's actually a pass to a weapon. Let's see what's going to happen. RC takes the first kill. He just murders JM. The Penguin gets a refrag. Fancy Lad coming through, ready to clean this up here. It's a 1v1 here. RC gets the knife to finish it off, but he doesn't have time to get the defuse, and Marist goes 2-0.
I love the energy that we're seeing from this game so far. I love that Marist is on the T side and that they are showing up Colorado so far. But as we saw in the last game, Marist came out hot and they were doing great work, and then Colorado found their footing and shut it down for the duration of the game. So Marist has been pretty scary on Inferno in the past, and they have certainly given a lot of people trouble across the board, regardless of where they fall in the standings. So this is their opportunity to put as many rounds on the board, because, you know, Inferno tends to favor the T side. It certainly is more comfortable, if nothing else. So the more rounds they can put up here, the better off everyone is, the better off they're going to feel as they go into the next one. Eritoshi, an opportunity missed there to take out Rarigini, and unfortunately no return, except for Eritoshi now down to 13 HP.
This is honestly kind of scary if you're Colorado. You know, the strongest start for Marist yet. We've seen them, you know, they won the first one, lost the bonus last time. Marist is a bit of a wild card, but, you know, they have a history on Inferno, and they've got a pretty good ratio here. University of Colorado might be sitting in the top spot, but like you said at the beginning of the last one, this is their first time going up against Marist this season, and it's looking pretty good for Marist so far. I think that this could be a situation where we go one map and one map. Sprague is going to be the first to fall, but we are going to see Marist still holding strong right now. They've still got one on top here. I think they know.
I don't think Colorado noticed that they made it all the way through Speedway already. And lucky able to take out RC. I mean, we still haven't seen. Well, now it doesn't matter, but we didn't see Jig Jester move at all prior to RC getting taken out at Arches there. So I think that was just a real sneaky play from our boys over at Marist.
I think it was too. I'm really curious. You know, Colorado kind of, they're not carrying much momentum. You know, especially after getting aced out by JM on the round just before they won it all. I think that Colorado has stunted a little bit with as far as momentum and maybe mental goes. But Marist here, they've got 4 players alive. They got the bomb down. They got 3 rounds in a row. They are off to a strong start, and their economy is going to reflect this.
Agreed. And they're got to be feeling really good about this situation. Obviously, like you said, economy doing really great. They're going to see a buy up here. It's a little bit of a buy anyways to try to support Jig Jester, who saved that M4 coming over from the last round. But otherwise, Marist is in as good a position as they could be in terms of equipment, really. And they're going to continue with this sort of poke and prod, not necessarily aggression, but definitely assertiveness. And if they continue to hit their shots the way that they have been, this should be the 4th round in favor of Marist.
I mean, that being said, we have seen Colorado come through and surprise us before with an eco win after Marist got those ups. That's what happened at the beginning of Overpass. But here we stand with, I don't really think that University of Colorado is going to be giving this one up for free. We see them in this position where they're holding off on the sightlines here. JM does pick up an op shot, but Colorado's holding ground. Marist, it's still 1 minute left on the clock, but they haven't gained much ground here. Looks like they are going to be going for the A-Aggress as they check out. They will face a little bit of resistance in quad, and that's from RC here. RC, unfortunately, though, misses those crucial shots. The Deagle that could have changed it all here, but Jig, the only weapon on the roster. Is it going to be enough? He takes out Penguin. He hears one up on the balcony. Lucky does take up Atoshi from the balcony here. Jig is going to be able to pick up one more. Does he manage to pick up a third? Not before Rarigini sprays him down. It's a 1v3 now. Cozy with a Deagle and a Dream. Going to be coming back up from mid right now and trying to find their way in. I don't think saving is going to be really reasonable right now, but there are at least 2 weapons on the floor. Not going to matter, though. Rarigini is going to clean it up here. Marist going 4-0. An
excellent place for Marist to be. Again, we saw it from that first half, for that first map. Is as long as you can keep Colorado with their backs against the wall and you can keep pushing up rounds, that's exactly what you have to do, because as soon as you give them that opening, the ability to set their footing, that could be as good as game over for you. Fancy Lad missing his shot and ultimately going down to Penguin, which didn't walk away without any sort of cost, because Berreghini obviously down to half health at this point. But losing an op in Banana is such a critical thing, because now they've given up such a huge amount of map control.
So, University of Colorado, if they get shut out here to Marist on Inferno, how does that look for their first place position, Tyler?
Like Marist still has a long way to go, but they've got quite a feather in their cap, and I think it sends a great message to the teams that they have on the rest of their schedule, just how well prepared they are coming into this split. They didn't go home and do nothing. That was quite the nade from Jig Jester, taking down 3 members of the Marist team to almost half health. So they are certainly ready to make sure that they are not giving that away. But a little bit of a cheeky boost here to give them a better perspective of where everybody's at. Jig able to take the first person down from the Marist side out of the pit. There's still somebody sitting up in that porch area looking for it. Eritoshi with a rotation gets Berreghini, who had his eyes set on Arches. While Cozy continues to stay on the A site, Marist is getting hung up on this wagon area, unable to get into sight. Although that first opening kill, oh my gosh, 2 of them going down to RC, able to bring it back to Sprague, but there's another person on site. Doesn't care, because he just uses, of course, it's the Glock. What else is it going to be to close that out? And now Cozy having to rush to try to find his answer, but Sprague, being unaware of what's going on, may not be prepared for Cozy coming from Arches, as he's a little suspect of the porch area, expecting the aggression from the other side.
Playing for time with the op is all that you want to do, Sprague. There's no need to hold this angle right now, although it looks like for that crosshair. He was ready! Oh. He was ready!
Oh, boy.
Marist should not have won that.
Wow. Wow. And Marist is the one taking the timeout right now. It must be a tech pause, because or they're just taking a moment to just come down from what just happened, because that was an excellent clutch. And as we saw them, the biggest issue that I think we saw a little bit on the last map was the fact that Marist got stuck up in some of those execution situations, and they kind of sat there, and it gave Colorado enough time to come and set up. But what we're seeing on this map so far is that Colorado is significantly more respectful of Marist's aggression in different places, not necessarily assuming that the aggression towards one site is indeed the end position that they're going to be in. And as a result of that, they don't have quite as many players as where they were, but there's no excuse for Colorado to have lost that round, because they had all of them stuck at porch. They had 3 players still alive defending the A site, and somehow Sprague finds that opening kill onto site, and that just opens everything up. Even with the heroic effort of RC there with the double kill, it just wasn't enough.
Let's not even stop there. Colorado should not be 5-0 right now, or 0-5 for that matter. They should not be down this many rounds. We're allowed to pick on them because they're at the top of the scores right now. This should not be how it starts. And after a tech pause coming, or a timeout coming right through, and just getting the spray down of Banana, Cozy doing whatever they can. Unfortunately, they're going to be running away. Mostly JM from the back to be able to take out Jig. And once again, we just see this insane momentum from Marist. It's a 3-on-2 situation, but the guns are absolutely favoring Marist at this moment in time. We've got a lot of work to do, Colorado, and they've kind of left everything on the table as far as performance is concerned. Both of them are going to be sitting all the way in the back of the castle right now and trying to make their way out the side. But I don't think that they're going to be able to get past Penguin. This business goose is down for business and going to make it work through the coffins. It's sprayed down. There we go. Penguin cleans it up. It's 6-0 for Marist College against the University of Colorado here. And that, there is so much that is happening today. It is such a good day for collegiate Counter-Strike.
I am thrilled. I mean, I couldn't ask for a more hype end to this. And even if Colorado goes 16-0 over the next 16 rounds, this start to the map has been incredible to watch so far. And you kind of got to wonder, like, what's going on in Colorado's head right now? You know, are they starting to feel the pressure of what's going on? Or are they not prepared for that? Are they cold? Like, you know, what's the real answer to this? Because they're just continuing to make uncharacteristic mistakes.
I'm just not quite sure if Marist is the same team that we just saw on Overpass. They are very much you know, a different team. And what I have heard is that Marist College is quite scary on Inferno, as our chat has said. They've actually beat Marquette on Inferno, actually, after losing Mirage 16-0. So if there's any map that Marist is going to be able to take out from the top dogs, University of Colorado, it's going to be this one here on Inferno.
It is, and that was stretching all the way back to week 3 of the fall split, which, again, you know, we talked about how dominant Marquette can be and how aggressive they are, and just in general, like the fact that Marist was able to kind of dominate in the way that they do on this map and take a map off of a team like that is absolutely indicative of I guess, of what we're seeing here. They obviously feel very comfortable, and they're just with the lurks and the it's if I'm Colorado, not only am I frustrated, I'm maybe a little nervous.
I would be frustrated, and that would be detrimental to the mental. It's going to be JM here on this 1v2 situation. JM just preventing the defuse, but unfortunately, Fancy Lad sitting on it. He is going to be able to pick up the defuse here. Op v op. JM just wasn't fast enough here. Both will be able to walk away and take their Arctic weapons platforms away with them. It's a good day for Colorado to finally be able to pick that one up, but Marist is still up so many rounds right now.
Yeah, well, I guess that begs the question, is this the breaking of the dam? Is this, you know, where we see the onslaught of Colorado begin? Or is this just a blip or a little bit of a stumble on the path to Marist's dominance here?
Definitely looks like a blip, given what we just saw from GM there with that headshot onto RC. Both two letters have just faced off, and it was just murder that comes out on top of whatever RC stands for, remote control. Adatashi holding out right now. The SMG and the flash is going to work together. They come together like peanut butter and jelly. JM going to be taking a little bit of damage here. 12 HP. Can't afford to take much more. Gets the flick onto Adatashi. Almost gets the teammate bullet in the back as well. But we're on 3v3. We got an op. We got 2 AKs. We got an op. We got 2 M4s.
They weren't expecting the late banana aggression there, and I don't blame them. I probably wouldn't have either, but they've left Fancy Lad alone on that site, and it's given them this opening. And with 2 players on the A site against the 2 remaining Marist College, this could be a dangerous situation for them to have to contend with.
Yeah, this is insane, honestly. Seeing this kind of performance from Marist, I mean, you know, University of Colorado, they got a one-man advantage, but they are still playing it as if they have a lot left to lose. That grenade is going to do some good damage to Lucky here. But Sprague, he throws some nades on the site, but kind of reveals they don't have a true plan here. Lucky is taken out from... No, he does manage to take out Jig after losing Sprague there, but as it drops in this 1v1, he's on only 1 HP. It's not going to be an easy win here, and Fancy Lad going to be pushing up from mid. It's going to depend. Is he going to take arches? Is he going to go from quad? He flashes quad and he aggresses quad, but that means Lucky is going to be looking quad. Fancy Lad right here, going to be doing whatever they can. Throws the molly into lower, but I don't think that Fancy has any idea where Lucky could be on the site. Doesn't matter. Going to be able to get that spray down. 1 HP was nothing. University of Colorado brings us now 2-6.
That's 2 in a row, Artie. That's the start of a streak.
Could very well be, especially given the fact that even after just only 2 rounds of loss, after 6 rounds, Marist is in a surprisingly terrible eco situation. After 6 in a row, they are in dire straits. I would say it is a good word. If they lose this one here, if Colorado somehow manages to pull out 3 in a row after losing pretty hard for the early part of this half, Marist is going to be struggling, and when Marist starts struggling on that economy, it's hard for them to claw back up from University of Colorado. I keep coming back to it, but that's exactly what happened at the beginning of the last map. Fancyland starts off by taking out Penguin, but Sprag also gets a refrag onto Jig. 2 star players now down. Now, the difference here being that Penguin is the top frag on Marist at the moment, and Jig not actually top fragging here like he was before. Fancy Lad and RC really.
I forgot about that spam. Oh man, this is clearly is Marist's big thing. They forgot about the shutter spam on the porch. Heard that somebody was there. They gave them the call out. They lose 1 to RC still, but ultimately able to trade that out. So now we look at this 3v3. Marist College really favoring that A site, and they're already planning on site with still somebody in pit. They just don't care.
A big fan of Marist's aggression here, even in the face of adversity, pushing forward to quickscope Mr. JM. That is not how you use an op, but he is certainly making it work here. Now Raragini is going to...
Oh no, he's gonna get caught. Oh no.
Yeah, Pete, a little bit of a sticky situation. Somehow survives. They do set up for this underplay, under apartment balcony. Fancy Lad going for the smoke and the flash. Going to be able to flash himself and come out on top with a spray down to Raragini. It's just the 1v1, and JM is not looking good, but JM with that op is truly a sight to behold. He's looking the wrong direction. He doesn't care. Going to be able to pull that out, and production has made the call that it was supposed to be 6-16, and unfortunately, this is where you are now incorrect. Marist has brought it in to 7. And let's see if Marist is going to be able to carry the rest of this half here. If those 2 in a row were the blip for Colorado, because now Marist Eco is saved and Colorado has to go back to the drawing board.
RC letting Marist know that they are not going to go down without a fight with that quick 1D. And they're a team that are particularly scary when it comes to pistol saves just because of their efficiency. As you can see with RC now getting his 2nd headshot kill, whittling down the Marist numbers to 2 with Penguin previously on the ump. That could have been incredibly dangerous, but now they've given the signal to Colorado that they are indeed committing towards this A site. JM is going to take out Eritoshi from the backside, so now that's going to open up their escape valve if they want to do so. So much to the point where Cozy is starting to question about where they might be headed. So he's looking back to see if he can catch somebody out, and it seems like he's reading that correctly as Marist is rethinking their strategy onto the A site. So the real question here is whether or not Cozy is going to be able to do any damage, and he is. He gets the first and the second.
Oh, no. You hate to see it. Marist making such a rookie mistake there, pushing out. They still had 50 seconds on the clock when they began that, and pushing out with your knives and just jump peeking very, very sloppily. Never the way to go. Cozy getting hit by a little bit of those utilities here. It is JM. The clutch gene is present, and JM pushes up. Instead of finishing the kill in coffins, he goes for the fake plant, peeks around the side to get the fake kill, but he doesn't know that was the same player. He still thinks that there might be one in that backside. Oh, but he hears the guns. He hears everything happening on the side here. He gets the bomb down, but not enough time. RC does pick up the shot here, picking up the revenge, the battle of the 2 letters yet again. This time it's RC on the top. 15 kills and 8 deaths. And now 1 extra defuse there as we go 3-7.
That was an excellent round that really showcased just how dangerous Colorado can be from basically any position. I mean, RC with those opening frags just made everything so complicated. And as you whittle down those numbers, obviously the math starts to shift and those round win likelihood percentage points start to go the opposite direction. And so that was excellent. And now we see Marist in a position where they're forced to eco. And if they're not able to get anything, although they are trading kills, so they're trying to show that they can answer just as well as Colorado can. If they lose this round, which isn't unlikely considering the current situation, that's going to put them at 4-7, which means they still have that lead, but it's certainly not nearly as dominant and as comfortable as it was just a few rounds ago.
Ooh, a great grenade to lead into that push here. And Aratashi finishes it up here for University of Colorado, bringing us, yeah, like you said, 4-7. And Marist still feels so strong here. I feel like, all right, prediction time. I feel like Marist is going to come out on top. What do you think here? Looking at how it's gone so far, looking at the fact that Colorado has only won 4 rounds so far into this map, seeing how strong Colorado was on the previous map, I still think that Marist comes through.
It's hard for me to say. I want to agree with you. I want to see Marist topple the Titan that is Colorado. But after seeing what they were capable of in terms of playing from behind on the last map, I'm hesitant to put too much weight behind that. So count me a skeptic, count me a doubter or a hater. I will absolutely take that if they pull out this win. But for the time being, it's just getting a little close still. I don't know if I can confidently say that that's going to happen, although the lineup almost cost 2 players on the Colorado side their lives, but instead Fancy Lad able to take out Penguin as they try their aggression onto the B site. So we're at a bit of a standstill right now. We've got 4-4, although the HP on the Marist side is just chipping away point by point.
This is just so much fun to watch. We're seeing this come through, and unfortunately for Marist, they don't check their quarters, and RC peeks through the incomplete smoke that blocked out Arches, and gonna be able to get rewarded for that peek here. Rarigini is gonna throw the molly just on the other side of the smoke, and it's gonna do some serious damage to RC. JM trades the op out for the AK, pushes through. It's gonna be a great trade there, making sure that the AK is used for those close quarter battles, learning from the op from days past. Now still holding out in the sightline, making sure that nobody is going to come through that Arch's way yet again. No re-rotates are going to be had. This is a weird hold right now. JM does go down, but University of Colorado knows that they can't come through to Rarigini. Rarigini's just going to eat this bomb right now, sit on top of it, have a nice day, throw the op to Lucky. That op was sent into outer space.
Well, yeah, we saw that happen in some of the maps previously, especially on Vertigo. I think in our first map, we had a kill that sent somebody into the stratosphere, so I guess it makes sense that, of course, it can happen on the gun. That means, critically, in that mistake, that there is no op on the side of the T's. So, what is... Colorado looked wholly unprepared for that aggression. Fancy Lad able to get one and trade, so it's a 2v2, 2v3, 3v3. There's just people trading back and forth all over the place, and Penguin is the last one left after Lucky goes down to the molly. So he's committed to this B site, but the Colorado team obviously knows that, and they're already putting themselves in position to take care of that if he decides to attempt the plant. But Penguin, being aware of this, is going to go for that church aggression and see if maybe he's going to see that first one, but is he going to expect the second? He obviously heard our last player, but he doesn't know where he's coming from. Oh no, if he sprays through that window.
Not looking good for Penguin right now.
Oh,
Penguin...
that's so smart. RC is setting up to go for that spam if... Yep.
You're entirely right. But because that spam didn't land at first here, he
the
thinks
timing?
a different angle.
Did he see him? He must have seen him. Oh my gosh. I don't know if my heart can take this.
I am fully awake at this moment in time, and University of Colorado, they're looking for that op. They know that an op was supposed to have been saved. And wait a second, I don't see it anywhere. He finds one. Okay, there's one.
Oh man, that is such a beautiful moment to just think through, that we all experienced that, both as the commentators, all of our friends here in Twitch chat, as well as the players, all got a little bamboozled for a second. And here we are back again. Fancy Lad, who has been a huge impact player with that op, playing in the banana position, going to get that back, so they are able to put up a pretty good front. Marist, however, on that same position, they have an eco, which, again, at this point doesn't matter. It might as well just be any other round. But they are coming with a position and losing quite a few players already in mid in terms of both HP And unfortunately, poor Sprague's life goes down to RC as he continues to be aggressive in that mid position.
Unfortunately, we did see one of the T's miss that apartments jump, but that's okay. You can't win them all. University of Colorado sending Adatoshi all the way down through Banana and into mid here to get this back of the line. We will see Jig Jester holding up on the apartment balcony right now, and all 4 members of Marist are ready to flood out. Jig holds no triggers and picks up a quick 3K here. RC picking up 3 of those kills. That was fantastic to watch. But University of Colorado is slowly tying us up right now.
The real question is whether Marist is just enjoying the fact that their T side is stronger. It's been a while since I've seen them play on Inferno, so I honestly don't remember. But if Colorado comes back with, you know, their own big brain strats and gets that aggression into there, it's going to be really difficult for Marist to hold on to what's become a much slimmer lead. So it's critical that Marist takes this last round into the next half, starts off strong with that pistol to close this out. Otherwise, they've given the opening for Colorado to come through and make this something intense. And Penguin going down to that molly, that has been the story of Colorado's defense here. That's at least the 3rd player that they've lost, or that they've taken out by molly in Banana. JM able to get into these such strange. It's like when Rarigini showed up at half wall in an overpass. Like, where are these people coming from?
Yeah, I love just the, you know, the teleports of CSGO. RC almost picks up that spray down. Rarigini on 3 HP. That is certainly going to harm them, but I think Marist is still in a good position to win this. It is the last round of the half, and Marist coming out with 3 rounds on top is actually way more than I was expecting, but not probably as good as they were expecting. We see Rarigini actually, even on the 3 HP, going to be able to get a trade out here, and Marist does bring it out 6-9. Nice.
That was exactly the scoreline of the last map, right, in the first half.
That's true. I do remember saying nice.
So this is potentially just like the weirdest case of deja vu that we can experience. I guess it's an opposite, right? Because Marist was the one at 6 rounds. So we're just kind of seeing a mirror potentially of what happened. So maybe we're going to see Marist just run through and get to 16 and maybe drop one more along the way. Why not?
If that happens, I think that I'm going to have to just redo this bingo card. Literally every expectation that was set for me, you know, watching this series up until, you know, this is my first cast with you guys here for this season. All of my expectations absolutely shattered. Every single team that, you know, had something written down, subverted. And it's been such a fun day of collegiate Counter-Strike. And I just have no way to know what's happening next. We see University of Colorado, who traditionally has been very, very aggressive on their pistol rounds. They are holding back because they know Marist is around the corner, and Marist now has 1-tap USPSs, which we've just seen be used against RC here. Rarigini as well, going to pick up the 2nd onto Fancy Lad, the 3rd onto Cozy. It's just down to Adatoshi and Jig, who are backed up into a proverbial corner at the moment in time. And as they get cleaned up by Penguin, we see exactly why Colorado was hesitant to make their moves, but I think it was I'm sorry, why Marist was just hesitant to make their moves.
Yeah, Marist is not messing around, and neither is Colorado. So the respect for one another is very clear here. And Marist has made it their life's mission to ensure that the rounds that they have right now continue to count towards something. So you'll see Marist on the CT side right now with the scores reversed. But we'll get that fist in a second. Is going to continue to give them a little bit of confidence, but it's really important that they continue that momentum here and keep this up.
Yeah, sorry about that scoreline getting screwed up. That also gave me a little bit of a headache for a second here, but we see Rarigini Bringing it out here once again. We're watching Marist on a little bit of a, sorry, a lot of bit of an advantage as we start off into this next one. They've got a full 5-man right now up against 3, but unfortunately they will lose that immediately. It is now just down to the 1-man advantage. Adatoshi and Jig are the last 2 of Colorado, and I don't think that they're in a good position to take this, because even if they manage to finish out this rotation, get to B site, they are currently in earshot of Penguin, who is hearing this rotation, knows exactly where to look here. He's got a scout in hand. We know Penguin can use it, waiting for the right time to pull it out here. P250, all they need at the moment. Jig holding the sight line here and not actually letting Penguin pull out that scout just yet. Penguin does not know that both members are currently on site. That's why we see him still looking towards Banana in case anyone's flanking. But that is going to give Sprag and Lucky the full confidence to aggress the site right now. They might only be expecting one more, though. We will see Lucky take out Jig. The last one has been found on Adatoshi, and it is now going to be 6-11 for Marist.
I love that play by Penguin. He stayed alive. He waited for his teammates, and his presence alone from that angle, just you saw that as they were pushing through church. Like, that was the difference of, you know, where are you putting your attention down, because, you know, there's only so many places you can look at once. So notably, Lucky, while not the top fragger in terms of scores, has been one of those impact players this game so far, because as we've seen a couple rounds that have gone in favor of Marist, he's done an excellent job of being in the right place at the right time. RC deciding to answer to the JM battle that we've seen in mid so many times. Fancy Lad taking out the second, and Colorado is just sick of waiting. They are going straight onto this, and RC picks up 2 before falling into Lucky. And does he feel like Cozy was there? He does, but he goes down. So now Penguin with his scout is the last one alive, and the only way that Marist can come back into this particular round. But I don't think that's going to happen. It looks like Penguin is just going to accept his fate, sit on that B-bomb site, and make sure that he tries to stay alive. That was an aggressive round from Colorado. That was, I think, the shortest one that we've seen on Inferno. And if they're not careful, you just get further and further away from this gap that they've built up. And it is worth noting, because of the amount of rounds that Colorado got in the previous map, if Colorado wins 8 of these rounds on this half, even if Marist wins, technically speaking, Colorado will have won this best of 2.
So if we take last match as Bible, right? We take the last match as the gospel of what's supposed to happen. This is Colorado's last round. So Marist, if they win this next one, we could absolutely see the repeat just mirrored. If Marist does not get this next round, I think it is safe to say that Colorado will catch on their feet. This is traditionally a T-sided map, and I think that if Colorado can just catch up with one more round, they'll be able to send it fully in. And Fancy Lad starting off with this opener up against Sprag is going to put them in a good position to do so. Penguin still on a scout even 4 rounds into this half. Not something you usually want to see, but they're in somewhat of a predicament given the fact that it's been tight wins, but Penguin with a frag kill too before he picks up the one with the scout is going to be bringing them on a 1-man advantage. And I think that Marist is actually going to take this round home. JM is ready to just murder Penguin, holding back there with the scout. But Colorado has actually made it all the way over to A site. They know that all 4 are currently on B. JM going to be able to take out RC as well, but the bomb is going to go down on A site. We see that Marist is getting ready to aggress fully in. Cozy gets a freebie, but it's still not over yet. He's got to pick up at least one more to even the odds.
Well,
he does. Is he going to be
a little off?
Oh,
they know he's on balcony. JM. Oh, JM made that so scary. That round was significantly closer than it probably should have been, and just giving those AKs over to Marist put them in a position to win. And with just slightly better timing on that double peak from Boiler and from mid, that round absolutely goes to Marist.
I am blown away by both teams. JM 20-12, RC 26-15. This is a nuts matchup, and honestly, I can think of a better way to end the night out than with a banger of a match like this. This is the closest we've gotten tonight to going 1-1. And I'm here for it. We will see Fancy Lad and Adatoshi picking up a little bit of damage there via Penguin, but Penguin does end up dropping. That was not a good trade here. Cozy getting into a little bit of a gunfight here in apartments, but Colorado is still baked in to the B site push here. They're holding on to this banana with their dear life, and Cozy peeks out. Does get the shots out onto Sprag. It's now a 5-on-3, and Marist, like I said, if Colorado was able to pick up that next round, it was going to all run away from there, and here we are watching it happen in real time. It is just down to JM. Again, Clutch Gene, it's present. We know it's possible. He's got an op even. It's even more possible, but with the bomb going down on B site, very, very hard to retake that with an op. So JM just going to be holding out to make sure nobody's coming out of that church.
And that's absolutely the right call. Obviously, big investment overall. JM is just an absolute weapon with it in his hands. So they want to hold on to this and make sure that they can give them as much of a chance as possible. You see that the economy on the side of Marist is bad. There's another word for it, right? So as they come into this, unfortunately, they'll be a little bit of a victim of their own success with not much of a loss bonus on them. And now they'll be in that position that they have to buy around the ops to really support that. Or maybe they're just going to pull off what they did, just 2 rounds ago, put a bunch of people into Banana and see, if they can get a couple guns out of it. Totally legitimate strat. Obviously, that worked out pretty well for them the last time around, but their key component right now is to try to make sure that JM can hold on to this op.
Yeah, JM holding on to this op is definitely the only correct play for this round, I would say. And
Whoops.
seeing him fall
How did
pretty
that
much
happen?
instantly. Sprague, that's not how you... Okay. Yeah, op is gone. Marist's only possible chance of... Jake? Hello? What is happening?
He's just bloodthirsty.
Going for that 6K. See Penguin get in the back there. Wow.
I assume that JM was trying to be cheeky by pushing through that smoke, but I feel like Marist should know better that Colorado just doesn't mess around when it comes to that mid control. So it was not the right play, in my opinion. That being said, they're able to take a timeout. Obviously, the gap is closed significantly now. There's just a 1-round advantage in favor of Marist, and they're not worried about winning the series so much as just winning this map, because this map alone is the difference between them holding on to their ranking position or starting to fall down in terms of losing their lead. So it's important. I mean, this is a critical map all on its own, because right now, Sienna sits in 4th place now with 11 maps to their name, as opposed to Marist, who after the last one is at 8 and 9. So they can't really afford to lose any more maps, or they're just going to be continually just outside of that top 4.
One thing that I would like to point out is that when University of Colorado started to lose this map here, RC really took it upon themselves to just, say, hey, the other 2-letter guy did it. I could do it too. You see RC 30 kills and 16 deaths. And not to mention the fact that there are 2 members of University of Colorado that are still on 1-digit kills. That's not something we're used to seeing from University of Colorado in the slightest. So RC taking it upon themselves to actually just carry this on their back, they're pretty much the sole reason right now that Colorado is staying afloat up against Marist. And that's something that we gotta think about. When Marist goes in for these opening frags, if they don't get the opener onto RC, they lose the round. If they do, like they just did, Sprague taking out RC to start off, this is now a round for Marist. And I'm gonna hold myself to that. This is not a caster's curse. Watch this happen. Now that RC is gone, it falls apart. Lucky's gonna be able to take out Cozy. Boom, there you go. Another one of the top 3. We see Fancy Lad picking up one, but that's onto Sprague, the bottom of Marist at the moment in time. We still have JM and Rarigini and Penguin all holding out. Unfortunately for Jig and Fancy, they're coming into JM's sightlines here. It's just up to Adatoshi, who does have bomb control, but there is no way that Adatoshi peeks out and loses this AK unless they really just don't care about the economy, which they don't have to. Adatoshi is at 8,100, could really do with just ruining Marist's economy as much as possible because they are still broke. Taking out Rarigini is going to be a lot harder for Marist to deal with than Aratashi just saving a single AK. And we're going to be seeing Marist playing pretty slowly from this point on the rest of the match because the fact that, well, Aratashi only has 12 seconds. He's only got 7 usable seconds to get the bomb planted here. And as Aratashi goes in
going for it.
Oh, but he doesn't take it.
Oh, I assume that was a misclick, but man, that's an unfortunate end to the way to end that round. But you were right. I mean, I didn't even realize for a moment that RC in round 21 had already dropped a 30 bomb, which is something that, towards the end of the map, sure, in a close game. But as you pointed out, relative to the other members of his team, some of which still have single-digit kills, that's got to be frustrating as a top fragger. There's just, you have to have your whole team executing on that, and Marist just seems to have found the button on their map to make this as an incredibly uncomfortable thing for Colorado to try to contend with.
And the entire point of me even bringing that up is just because of the first frag situation. I was just looking at it, and every single time that Marist won is because RC dropped and either a trade or they just managed to pick it up. Every time Colorado won, it's because RC was able to win that opening fight. And it's basically down to that, right? It's down to, no matter what happens, if you got 4v3, if RC is not part of that 4, then Colorado just ends up losing it. Marist right now is in a good position because RC is down. Even though they've got a one-man advantage, that's not really the important factor here because, look, we've only got JM on B site, and granted, JM, that is the man to worry about, and he's got an op. The thing is, all 3 members rushing out could absolutely take him on, especially with all this utility, but they might not actually be able to fully survive this once we see the rest of the team falling into the back. They're afraid to aggress it.
And I don't blame them. This is not an easy position to be in. But with 4 players still up on the side of Marist, they get this opening kill, and this could be all over for Colorado in a matter of just a few seconds. Going for this boost over the smoke, going to get some of that information, get the first kill. They know the next one's at the back of the site. But Cozy coming alive, just spraying down 2, and Fancy Lad doing his job there. Now it's just left to Sprague, who's been the weaker player in this particular map, but he's playing against Fancy Lad and Cozy, and he's got the opportunity to do so. But unfortunately, after taking down 1, that trade from Fancy Lad ensures that Colorado ends up with their 11th round. So while Marist maintains the lead, that margin has continued to shrink round over round.
We're now down to just 1 player in the match on the single-digit kills, and that's the only thing separating Marist from going back to either tied up and no round differential or a negative round differential. And like we said, in this league, every round counts, so they need to pick up this map if they can, let alone just every single round right now. Adatoshi actually seeing the top of the head, going to be able to pick up 1 onto Penguin. Huge. We do see Adatoshi, though, pick up the second onto Rarigini. This is another round that is most likely going to go the way of Colorado. Fancy Lad holding out for Arches, but he doesn't see the fact that, literally there's not a member of Marist holding out. RC doing some work right now. It's just Lucky on the site. Bomb doesn't even need to be on B. Colorado ties us up. It's 12-12. I'm on the edge of my seat. There is no chair left here, Tyler.
I am just floored. I have loved this game so much, and I love this particular match as an expression of just how cool Counter-Strike can be. Watching both of these teams fight it out, do some really kind of unique and interesting things. And as you said, you know, dealing with all these different scenarios, is RC going to be the one? And Sprague, just uncharacteristic aggression, goes up into balcony and just shuts down any hope that Colorado has for this round. I wow. You know, this is exactly what we wanted to see from Marist, and they're just continuing to adapt to the situations that are happening, keeping Colorado in a position. So even if with Colorado winning that last round, Marist is still in position to stay in the lead.
This is just what we want. This is good Counter-Strike. Marist having all 5 members alive right now is extremely rock steady in their motions. They're going to be able to pick this up, and not only that, they're going to be able to pick this up with a lot of survivors and a good economy going into the next round. University of Colorado, they are steadily building their economy, but if Marist just picks this up and one more, that's it. The toppled economy this close to the end of the match, that could be detrimental, and Marist could actually walk away with a dub just based on that alone. But we're gonna try to see if that's the call. Jig might actually push in and say, hey, I've got a little bit of cash to spare. We got to just delete some weapons from Marist roster here. But if they decide to save, then at the very least, they're going to be able to carry that in. They'll keep a somewhat stable eco. But as we see this util flow through, it's looking like they're going to aggress here. Lucky sees the information, sees both, going to be able to get a quick little bit of damage through. Adatoshi picks up 1, he picks up 2, he picks up the 3rd. It's just a 1v2 situation at the moment. Oh, looks like Adatoshi actually didn't pick up. The first one was Jig, and then Adatoshi picked up the second 2. But Penguin and Raragini are going to flood out right now. 1 from the Arches side, 1 from the Quad side. Adatoshi getting found in the crossfires here. Pixel peeping perfect. He picks up 1, but it's Penguin that ends it out, and Marist brings us 12-13.
Oh, my heart. I can't take more of these rounds, Artie. This is insane. Maybe I cursed it by saying that Sprague had closed the round out for them, but Aratoshi just, I guess, feeding off of some of the rage that RC probably has out there on the 30 bomb. It just says, you know what? It's my turn. I'm coming in. Almost picks up an ace. Not quite, but just literally pixels difference in winning that round single-handedly for his team, which amazing, just incredible.
I'm wording is so hard right now because I cannot figure out what is going on. Everybody in chat right now, take the last match and just remove it from, take the last map, right? Remove it from memory. This is a different Marist. This is not the Marist that we saw on Overpass. This is completely different. We're seeing Cozy right now just trying to spray out, but Lucky, man of his name, gonna be able to survive. Pretty lucky dodging that spray down here. And again, the player that we want to watch out for is RC. RC is peeking out with Arches right now and goes down through the smoke to JM. You know, Sprague takes a little bit of damage there, but again, when RC goes down, usually University of Colorado loses those. So now we've got Colorado banking on the speed push to work out, because they know that JM is at least not there yet. But as Penguin picks up the kill on Adatoshi, we're going to be seeing what else will happen. It will go the way of Colorado. They are able to get this retake, but here's JM coming around the corner, getting ready to shoot through some more smokes and pre-fire a few angles. Looks like Colorado is going to be holding from backside. Definitely the best form given the situation. Lucky somehow has yet to upgrade the weapon. Still on an SMG right now. Maybe that'll help if they could push up through Church. The site is getting flooded right now, and it looks like Crossfire is going to come through.
No. Oh, no.
What just happened?
I can't believe that. Marist had such a good setup. They were just too slow on the rotate. And now the nightmare scenario, because Marist economy is garbage. They've got 3K as their top bank right now, which means that they have to save here, which means that maybe they're able to pull something off. We've seen it before. I'm not counting that out by any means. But that means that Colorado goes up 14-13 on Marist. And if Marist doesn't win the next, the match is basically over.
I think it's for both teams, whichever team loses this, it's over for them. But Marist especially, just given the fact they're only on pistols. JM, so close to all three of them. He only picks up one, and it's Adatoshi. Definitely not the pick that he wanted from that crowd. We're going to be seeing Maragini here also. CZ, he picks up one, but it goes to University of Colorado. And as University of Colorado gets closer and closer to that match point, we have to remember how we got here with Marist at such a lead, and now Colorado one up in their pocket, but JM has an op. No helmet, a glass cannon. Is it going to work?
It has to. It has to. This has been too ridiculous for us to come away without something insane here, and I'm sticking to that. That needs to happen.
JM takes a little bit of damage from that shoulder peak there, knowing that he's got no helmet means he's gonna have to back off just a little bit. But it's Penguin that goes down first. The trade comes through in the form of Fancy Lad being on just one shot HP. But JM gets this re-rotate to hold out from Banana, hearing the pleas from his teammate, the crying flightless bird. We will see Rargini go down here as RC picks up one more. JM, though, gonna re-peek the other side of Church. Let's see if it'll work out. Picks up one. That's RC down. Does not find the second here. Cozy instead on A side to take out Lucky on the lurk. It's gonna be a 2v4 situation. This could all come down to a crashing close here.
What a nade.
Wow.
I almost missed that. I didn't think that was going to do the damage that it did, but now JM and Sprague just have to deal with the fact that if they don't save this, they're in just real trouble. So they're going to wisely make the choice to come out of this and just expect that they can try to force this into overtime. That is a big gamble. Colorado is not interested in giving them any opportunity to get to that, but unfortunately, that's just the option that Marist has to try to contend for.
You know, even given the fact that Colorado is the top team right now, is it safe to say that Marist is the strongest Inferno team on this roster, on this entire bracket? I think
it certainly feels that way. I mean, the fact that they're dealing with Colorado of all teams, they've kept it to this. I think the only thing that would make a stronger case for this was that if there was a bigger gap in Marist in the progression that they've had, and then obviously winning the map, because Colorado, I think, is showing here that Marist, obviously an incredible team at Inferno to even come this close, but still being able to close it out if they are ultimately able to do so, does kind of speak to the fact that they're able to adapt to what Marist is throwing at them. But you're absolutely right on that point.
And not to mention now that we've reached the point where both of our 2-letter and many underscore friends have reached the 30 bomb. I don't know what it is, but if you guys are looking for a new username, 2 letters, some underscores, it seems to be working.
That's the cheat code. It's worth noting, again, as we put this out, that while Fancy Lad has definitely stepped up his game and come much closer, RC is almost at 40. And no disrespect at all to the Colorado team, but that should never have happened, right? There should be a much better distribution of impact across all these kills. But this is awesome. We're seeing Colorado just push all the way through, not able to find anybody because they've all left. So instead, they're going to run around to sight. JM taking the first out from Arches. RC able to answer that back with Lucky taking one out of sight. They've given up the A site and are now playing for Porch, but RC takes down Sprague, and now it's down to 3 players playing for their lives just to prove that Colorado is not the best at this map.
Oh, but there is a chance that Colorado could learn. They've been taking notes from Marist here, and now we are standing with the bomb planted. Just over 30 seconds left on that timer. That means 25 usable for Marist to come through and get the defuse. It's all going to happen right now. JM with the AWP and Penguin with the M4. We see Adatoshi pick up that kill. It's just with JM. The clutch gene still available. Is it going to work out? 17 HP. A dream. A 1v4. But it's going to be Fancy Lad coming through with the bunny hops. University of Colorado doing what seemed impossible, taking out Marist, but University of Colorado once again proving to us why they are the #1 team here on this bracket today. That was the most intense collegiate CSGO that I have watched, and I just got back from an international collegiate CSGO tournament, so I don't even know what to say.
I can't wait to get somebody from Colorado in to talk about this, because you're right. This is probably, well, certainly the best match of the night that I think that we can talk about. But overall, I mean, it's one of the closest games I think we've seen all season. Both teams playing their heart out, making sure that they leave everything out there on the map. It's been incredible to watch. And Marist, being in the position that they are, not statistically the strongest in the standings, but damn, they look like in that match they could give anybody a run for their money.
I gotta say, I just need to know what backpack RC is using, because almost a 40 bomb, clawing his way up the scoreboard, just carrying the rest of the team with him, just to make sure that they don't drop a single map, and to make sure that our score line sits 2-0 for every one of our 4 games that we've seen tonight. We are going to be bringing in someone for that interview very shortly here, so stick around for that. This has just been crazy.
Before we kick it, you gotta get it soft and wet so we can kick it. You gotta lick it.